Well, good evening and good to be with you again on Geelong Newsbeat. There's a great old Aussie, I suppose it's a slang term, but it doesn't get used all that much today, but it's quite respectable. The word squib. What does it mean? Well, it means maybe turning away from a confrontation or difficulty out of a sense of timidity or, in extreme cases, even cowardice. It can be a verb, to squib something, or it can be a noun given to someone who acts in that manner of just in a cowardly and being intimidated and therefore shirking responsibility. The word came to mind to me last week when I read of the decision by the Department of Education in Victoria not to give any sort of sense of direction or backup to school principals who would ask for a set of benchmark regulations and standards pertinent to teachers' dress. Now, the majority of teachers dress very well. They constantly remind us, and rightly so, that they are professionals and so on, but there are always some that really don't come up to the mark. And for principals who are trying to inculcate some sort of sense of standards amongst the students, if the staff don't come up to the mark, it's very difficult indeed. But then confronting a staff member that their dress is slovenly or inappropriate, or even in the case of perhaps of female and maybe even some male staff, too revealing and perhaps immodest, how do you do that when you've got no real independent criterion or benchmark on which to place your assessment? It's a very difficult and unenviable position for principals to be in. Principals who, in this day and age, have got a lot of responsibilities far over and above just merely making sure the teachers get paid and the school bells are rung at the right time. The job of a school principal is extremely difficult. They carry the total responsibility of the school in a very challenging age. To have no backup when it comes to ensuring that staff members are up to scratch with regard to their dress is very unfortunate indeed. And given the fact that it's the principals themselves that asked for that backup and that help, the decision by the department to, well, squib it is, one might say, perhaps rather unfortunate, because the department is meant to lead. And in any area of leadership, we need to back up the people who are doing the work on the ground. In too many areas we find that people who are in a position of authority will draw back, leaving all the heat to be taken by those on the ground floor and saying, well, we know nothing about it, from their offices in the high buildings. That's not good enough. It's not good enough for teachers, it's not good enough for principals, it's not good enough for students and their families, and it's not good enough as an area of principles of leadership. That's principle with an LES. The standards by which we operate in any society need to be governed carefully by people who know what they're doing, but the people on the ground floor dealing with these issues on a day-to-day basis ought to be given some sort of a reasonable backup. We are perhaps over-regulated in some areas of our life, but having an area of backup, of basic standards of behaviour and attitude and so on, and not leaving everything just to how it feels at the time on the ground floor, is something that it needs to be addressed on many levels of society. That's what leadership is about, and it's a pity that the Department of Education couldn't give a lead and a support to their principals when they had the opportunity. Good to be with you on Geelong Newsbeat.